I'll upload this document to the Google Classroom so you guys can see it more. Hopefully everybody is in the Google Classrooms. Now, the main thing I want to show you guys here is the grading scheme, right? So this will be a class with around 25 lessons. And over these 25 lessons, we're going to be doing quizzes. Some classes, we're going to be doing assignments after most classes. I'll be giving out assignments. We'll also have projects every now and then. And then finally, at the very end, we'll have one big test. Okay, one big test or a final exam, as I like to call it. Okay, nothing too hard. It'll be everything that we've done and learned in the class. Okay, and so there's a little grading scheme here. So just make sure you guys keep up to date with that. Okay, now first lesson is just going to be an introduction to programming and Scratch. Okay, my first question for you guys, if anyone knows, just you can put your hand up or you can react with the hands up emoji. Does anyone here know what a computer program is? The first question from me is, does anyone know what a computer program is? Marcus, you have your hand up?
Well, I used Scratch before and a lot of different computer programming things, but like that was like a few years ago. I used to do that, but it's kind of like you can make up your own computer game or something like that.
Okay, that's good. So Marcus, what you described is a programming language, okay? And we're going to be learning more about programming languages. That's what the subject is about. A computer program, that specifically is a set of instructions, right? So it's a computer program, you'll have lots of instructions. And we, the programmers, we write down the instructions. And these instructions will tell the computer what to do. Okay. The thing about computers is computers are very fast at doing calculations, much faster than us. If I ask you what 20 times 20 is, you might think for a second or two and tell me it's 400. You might have to use a calculator. You might have to write it down. But a computer,
a human brain is much faster than the fastest computer in the world.
A human brain is much smarter. It's more complex, but a computer could do that calculation in a matter of milliseconds, right? That's less than a second, right? Before we even start thinking about it, a computer can actually solve that problem, okay? But a human brain is more complex. It's much smarter. We can think outside of the box. A computer only thinks the way we tell it to, right? So that's what a computer program is. It's a set of instructions that we give to the computer to tell it what to do. Okay, everyone understand? Give me a thumbs up if everyone understands. Perfect. And remember, if anyone has any questions, please put your hand up. Okay, now most programming, the instructions that we pass to the computer, they're written in a programming language. Okay, so we can write here, computer program is a set of instructions that we give to the computer. Right? Now, these instructions, just like humans communicate with each other, we communicate in the same language. I'm communicating with you guys right now in English. However, when we pass a set of instructions to a computer, it's not going to understand what we're saying. And this is where programming languages come in. This is where we have programming languages. So programming languages are a special type of language that we use to talk or to give our instructions to computers, right? It's not quite in English. You'll notice that it uses a lot of English words, but it's a very special language, okay? And this language is very important because computers, if we make even one mistake with a capital letter, or maybe we add an extra letter, or maybe a different word, the computer won't understand at all what we're saying, or sometimes it will misunderstand what we're saying and do something completely different. Okay, so programming languages, again, that is the language that we use to give instructions to the computer. Okay, so we know two things so far: what a computer program is, and also that the instructions we give to it have to be in a programming language. Now, most programming languages that modern day programmers use are text-based. Okay, for example, this programming code I've written here, this is the syntax for a programming language called Python. Okay, now does anyone know what this would do if I write it in a Python program? Yes, Marcus, you have your hand up.
Oh, it would print hello.
Exactly, right? Very simply, it's going to print. So if I run the program, I'll get a blank console and my program will print hello in it, right? More specifically, this print statement here, it's a special function. And essentially, all we have to do is use the print statement. We can pass in whatever text we want into this print function. And then it's going to print whatever we type onto the Python program, right? So I can print something like, hi, my name is Mr. Abilas. And then when I run my program, I'll get, hi, my name is Abilas on the programming screen, right? Now, the complicated thing about text-based programming languages is we have to memorize a lot of different functions and a lot of different phrases, okay? So like I said, computers, they don't understand unless we pass it to them exactly as the programming language states. If I, instead of writing print like this, maybe I make a mistake and I forget the I, does anyone think this will work? Does anyone think this will not work? Put your hand up if you think this won't work. All right, good, right? This won't work because I made a mistake. So now the computer sees PRNT and it has no idea what I'm trying to say, right? And this is known as a syntax error, okay? Syntax error. And it's a special type of error the programmer is going to throw, telling me that it doesn't understand my syntax. Syntax specifically means the word that I'm using. So it's like, I don't know what PRNT means. And if it doesn't know what it means, it's not going to be able to follow my instructions. Okay. And remember, print is one of the more simple statements in a programming language. There are lots of phrases and lots of statements that you'd have to know. Okay. This is where Scratch comes in. So does anybody know how Scratch is different from a normal text-based programming language? Dichi, you have your hand up?
It's like it already wrote the language for you.
In a sense, yeah, that's almost correct, right? They already wrote the language for us, kind of, right? And what that means is that Scratch is different because Scratch is a block-based programming language or a visual programming language, right? It's not a text-based. So that means Scratch has these blocks and each block is a different statement in English. So instead of me writing print hello, Scratch already has a block that maybe says something like the say block, okay? The say block. And if I drag and drop the say block, I can then write whatever I want in the bottom here. I can write some text in the bottom here, and I can say maybe hello, or I can change that. So instead of writing print and then hello, like I did above here, right, where I can make a mistake, or I can forget something, maybe I forget a quotation mark. Instead of doing all that, remembering that, all I have to do is grab this say block and then drag it, right? Drag it and drop it to my console and then write whatever I want to write in here, right? All I have to write is the word, okay? So because of that, Scratch is a much more simple language to learn. I'm not going to be writing any complicated commands. Instead, I'm just going to be connecting blocks together, and using these blocks, we're going to create simple programs. Okay. Now, I put in the Google Classrooms that everyone should make a Scratch account. I'm not sure who's in the classrooms already, but if you don't have a Scratch account, that's fine. You can still, I think I saw you in the Google Classrooms, Sam, but we'll get to that later. Now, it's fine if you don't have a Scratch account right now. You can still go on the Scratch website, okay, and I'll link that. I'll link that below. And if you go on the Scratch website, you can start exploring and using some of the blocks. Okay, so I'll paste the link in the chat so you guys can access the website. If you guys check the chat, you should see the official Scratch website. Okay, and I'm also going to start sharing my computer screen. There we go. All right, now, first question is, anyone having trouble accessing the website, the Scratch website? Can you guys see what I see on my screen? So I'll give everyone a minute to catch up. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, hopefully you guys can. And just a quick reminder here, you don't need an account right now. When you go to my website, on the top left corner, you should see a button that says create. Here, let me show you guys. So if you guys go to the website and it's like this, and you click this button here, create, it should take you to the Scratch application here. And you'll see a little tutorial here. You can close it. You don't need to follow it for now. Okay. Now, is everyone here good? Did everyone here figure out how to use Scratch? Anyone having any trouble? If you're having trouble, just put your hands up. Okay. Okay, looks like everyone's good. So let's get started then. Okay, so there's a few things that we want to explore here. Okay, first is this guy over here, right? Anyone see, everyone's hopefully can see this cat that I'm dragging around. This is known as a sprite. Okay, it's a sprite. Now, if you guys have ever played games before, computer games, you might know this. You probably already know.
It's a character.
It's a character, sure, but in Scratch, we specifically call them sprites. Okay, you can call them characters too. It's just a term. Okay, but so our sprite are here. Whenever we load up a Scratch application, it always comes with a default sprite, and we have here our cat. Okay, and it's called cat2. Okay, so we can click on this guy and we can move him around this little area here. Okay, now when everyone should see the same thing on their computer. Okay. And this is the main sprite. The next thing we want to learn about is the stage. Okay, where the cat is right now, where I'm moving my cat sprite here, that's known as the stage. Okay, so that's kind of where everything happens. Also known as the background, right? But my background is very plain right now. It's just white. Okay, but that's fine. We'll learn how to make better backgrounds in the future. Okay, so we have our sprite, and our sprite is in the stage. Okay, now this sprite, this guy here, he understands and obeys any instruction that we give to him. Okay, just like a computer program does, right? So we can give instructions to our sprite over here, and he'll do something based on what our instruction is, right? But he'll only do it in this area here, the stage area. Okay, this whole interface here, this is called the Scratch programming environment. Okay, so we see the stage here. We'll see somewhere in this left side here, we'll see some of the motion blocks, and we'll see a few tabs here. We're going to learn about all of that. Okay, we're going to learn about all of that. Now, the first thing I want everyone to do is go here. As you can see, I think most of your projects will be called untitled. You can just rename that to whatever you want. Maybe my first project, or I'm going to call it lesson 1. Okay, I'm going to call it lesson 1. And then you can also see using this box here, you can
That
yes,
was very
yeah.
creepy.
Jasmine, do you have a question? Make sure you're muted unless you have a question. Okay. Okay, good. So continuing, our sprite here, we have named it cat, but we can call it whatever we want, right? I can call it cat, I can call it kitty. Maybe I'm just going to call it orange cat. Okay. So when we change the name here, we see in this little box here, right? And this box here contains any other sprites that we might have, right? It reflects. Now it's called orange cat. And this is our orange cat sprite. Now I'm going to switch back to my iPad again real fast. Okay, I want to tell you guys a little bit more about the stage, right? For example, some important thing here is we see that for our cat sprite here, when we move him around in this little corner here, right? Everyone can hopefully see the X and Y boxes. When we move our cat around, the X and the Y boxes also change, right? We can also edit these boxes. So maybe I put 0 for X and I put 0 for Y. And we see that also moves our cat sprite, right? We didn't click and drag our cat sprite. We just put X to 0 and Y to 0. So these X and Y boxes here, where they take numbers, are actually coordinates for where the cat sprite is on the grid, right? So if I take this cat and I drag it maybe up and to the right, I see my X goes up to 121 and my Y goes up to 90. Okay, so let me show you guys a little bit more about the stage. I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'm going to start sharing on my iPad again. Okay. The stage. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about the stage. So we saw the stage was essentially just a box, right? Just a box. And didn't look like there was anything much else in the box. But this box is actually a grid. Okay, it's actually a grid. It's just we can't see any of the grid lines or any of the grid boxes. So does anyone here not know what a grid is? If you don't know what a grid is, just raise your hand or ask in the chat. Okay, good. Looks like everyone knows what the grid is. So let's try it. Let's not. Okay. So X and Y. So we have our Y line and our X line, right? Now, how does this work? If I tell you that I have a point and the X value is at 7 and the Y value is at 10. So what that means is we come back to our staging area here, right? Now, each of these lines is actually labeled, right? So this middle point here will be 0. Okay, it's going to be Y is equal to 0 and X is equal to 0. If we go up on the grid, if we go this way, what happens is our Y value increases. So right here is Y is equal to 10. Maybe here we'll have Y is equal to 20. Maybe here we'll have Y is equal to 30. Okay. And as I go toward the right, so if I go this way on the grid, my X value increases, right? So maybe here we have X is equal to 10. Here we have x is equal to 20, right? So let me change this coordinate actually. I'll make this x is equal to 20, right? So I'm telling you my sprite is at x is equal to 20 and y is equal to 10, right? So what I do is I come to this grid, I find x is equal to 20, which is right here. And let me mark it so I know I'm here right now. And then I find y is equal to 10, which is right here. These two will meet right about here. And this is how I know where my sprite is, right? Sprite is here at x is equal to 20 and y is equal to 10. Okay, so that's the same system that the Scratch stage environment is using. It's just using a grid. So when we move our sprite up, the y value goes up. When we move it to the right, the x value goes up. And of course, we can move it the other way too, right? We can move it to the bottom and we can move it to the left. And when that happens, the values go smaller. Now, I'm not sure how much of you guys know negative numbers, but anything less than 0 are called negative numbers. Okay, so if we go to the bottom or to the left, what happens is our x and y values start becoming negative numbers. Okay, does everyone understand so far? This was quite hard, so if anyone has, perfect. Samuel understands, but if anyone has any questions, let me know. If you didn't understand it all as well, if nothing made sense, let me know. All right. Looks good so far. Okay, looks good so far. So this is the staging area. Now, specific to the stage, the Scratch stage that we saw, it's actually in total, it's 360 steps wide. Sorry, it's 360 steps tall. All right, so there's 360 steps tall. And for the width, it's 480 steps wide. Okay, let me just fix that 4 so you guys can read it a little better. 480 steps wide. That means our character within this grid here, they can move, if they start from this bottom corner over here, they can move 480 steps all the way to the other end of the stage. And they'd have to move 360 steps all the way to get to the top. Okay. But the grid actually does kind of go on forever. So even when the character goes, the sprite goes here, right? Our sprite goes here. What's happened is the grid will kind of move so we can see more of the right of the grid. Okay. So that's the stage. Okay, that's the stage. It's just a grid. And we know the dimensions of the grid as well, right? 480 steps wide and 360 steps tall. Okay. Skip back to the Scratch coding environment on the computer. Share my computer screen again. All right. Perfect. There we go. Okay. So we've learned about the main sprite and we've learned about the stage so far. Okay. There's a few other things on the stage that we have to learn about. First, we see this green flag over here. And we also see this red stop sign looking icon over here. Does anyone know what these do? Anyone? Put your hand up if you know. Okay, Marcus's hand is up. Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, they start what you coded him to do, and it stops what you coded him to do.
Perfect. Correct, right? So it'll start and stop our program. So when we click this, our program should start, and whatever we told our sprite to do, or the instructions we gave him to do, they'll go ahead and start. And then if we click red, this will stop in the middle. Okay, so if our program is not finished running yet, and we click the stop button, it'll always stop the program. Okay, but if our program is very short, maybe we just have one instruction, it'll finish so fast, we won't have anything to stop. Okay. Now let's quickly get to the blocks tab over here. Okay, now I want everyone to follow along here. Okay, and so now we have our main sprite, we have our orange cat sprite, and we understand what the stage is. Let's do the first thing here, right? I want this guy, my orange cat sprite, I want him to move 10 steps. Okay, so if everyone can drag this block here, the move 10 steps block, I want you guys to click, and I want you guys to drag it to this main area over here. Okay. After you guys are done dragging it, I want you to click the green go flag, and then whoever does it first, just put your hand up as soon as you're done and tell me if anything happened.
Nothing happened.
Okay, remember, Samuel, we have to put our hand up when we're done, okay? And then I'll pick you. Okay, so Marcus, yeah, you have your hand up?
Nothing happened.
Okay, so Marcus also says nothing happened. So looks like our program is not starting, okay? Now, how about we try this instead? Let's try clicking the block instead. Everyone click the block just once. Tell me if anything happens. And remember to put your hand up if you have an answer. Let's get someone different. Oh, there we go. Ethan.
He moved.
He moved. He moved 10 steps. So isn't that odd? Yes, Marcus, your hand is also up.
He moved 10 steps.
Perfect. Yeah. So it looks like our block is working, right? So when we click this block, our cat moves. But when we click our start program flag over here, it doesn't move. Now we'll get to why that is later. But before, let's take a closer look at this blocks tab over here, because we have a lot of blocks here, right? We played with the most basic one, which was move 10 steps, right? Now, blocks in Scratch are divided into around 9 categories, right? We have around 9 categories here. We have motion, looks, sound, events, control, sensing, operators, variables, and then we also have some custom blocks, my blocks here. Okay, now some of these sound complicated, but we'll get to them eventually. Let's start with the motion blocks for now, right? So we played with the most basic one, which was just move 10 steps. And we saw that our sprite, when we clicked this, he moved a little forward, right? And now remember, this grid, it's 480 steps wide, right? So he only moved 10, right? So 10 steps he moved, okay? But if we put a much larger number, we'd see much bigger movement. Okay, but we only move 10 steps, so he only moves a little bit, okay? Now, all these blocks are color-coded to help you find the related blocks easily, right? So we can see all the motion related blocks here, right? And it gets more complicated than just move. Obviously, we have some turning, we have go to blocks, we have glide blocks, right? So they get a little more fun and a little more complicated as we go. Okay, so cool things about blocks, right? And this is the very basis of block-based programming is I can drag another block and attach it to my move block, right? So I'm going to put this turn 15 degrees block. Now I'm going to attach it to the move block. Okay. Now if I click this, I'll notice, right? And I want you guys to do the same thing. Okay. And I want you to tell me if you noticed anything different than when you just click the move 10 steps block, right? And if you guys are having any trouble attaching these two blocks, just let me know. Okay, so as soon as you guys run the program, let me know if you see anything different. Yes, Marcus, you have your hand up.
I
Okay.
didn't have any trouble.
Okay, perfect. And did you notice anything different when you click these two blocks, right? Because now we added this turn 15 degrees. So did your sprite do anything different, or did he just move 10 steps again?
Oh no, he turned.
Oh, he turned a little bit, right? So there we go. Our second block is working too. And if you guys look at my screen, you'll see I'm noticing the same thing as Marcus. When I click this now, he moves a little, but he also kind of turns more downward, right? He turns clockwise.
I think I did something very bad because I clicked the thing like crazy and there's like so much and then he just going in random directions.
Okay, that's you can always reset it if you just go here, Samuel. So maybe you moved your sprite too much, right? Maybe he's here and you're like, okay, I want him to start over. You can just go here, put your X value to 0. You can put your Y value to 0. And you can also put your direction to 90. And so put them right at this. Oh, someone's playing with sounds. Okay, that's good. Okay, and again, so it looks like you found the sound block as well, right? The sound block, and you can get the cat to say meow after a few seconds. Okay, so there's a lot of sounds that we can play with, a lot of fun that we can have. Okay, now we've explored these two blocks, but we moved them to this big area in the middle here. Okay, this area is called the scripts area. Okay, now to make our sprite do anything interesting, what we have to do is program it by moving our blocks, which are our code, into this middle area, which is the scripts area, right? And then we can snap them together just like we did here, right? We took the move block and we snapped the turn block right on top of it, okay? Now, when we drag a block, for example, maybe I take a new block and I put turn the other way, right? I noticed that when I drag it near the two blocks I already have, there's a gray border. And it's just telling me that if I drop it here, it's going to attach it to these two blocks, right? And then I can even maybe go up a little bit and it'll make a space in the middle for me where I can insert it now. So if I do this, it's going to change the order. It's going to change the order of these blocks, right? Because right now I have move 10 steps, turn 15 degrees. If I bring this, then it's going to move 10 steps. It's going to turn 15 degrees counterclockwise and then turn 15 degrees clockwise. I can even put it at the very top, and maybe I want my cat sprite to turn first and then move and then turn again. Okay, so there's a lot of different motion and we can determine the order. We can break them up if we want to, right? We can break up, we can put them back together, put it on top maybe, right? And when we're done with the block, maybe we don't want to block anymore. We can just click that block and click delete. You can click delete on your keyboard, okay? And if you click delete, that block goes away. And then to get it back, we can just drag it back here. Okay. Does everyone understand everything that's happening so far? Does anyone have any questions?
No questions.
Everyone give me a thumbs up if everything's good so far. Thumbs up. Okay, perfect. And if, okay, you can give me a thumbs up. Okay, and if your camera's off, you can just give me the thumbs up reaction.
Yep.
Okay, looks good. All right, so we've looked at some basic blocks. We know what the script area is, and we've been introduced to the stage as well. Okay, let's learn something new now. Right here, if you guys look at my screen, where our orange cat sprite is, you'll see this icon here. And when we hover above this icon, it should say choose a sprite, right? So I want everyone to click that icon. Okay, let me know when you guys have clicked that icon. Okay, now when you guys click the icon, you'll see all these other sprites here. Okay, all these other sprites. And as you can see, Scratch has a lot of built-in sprites. We see right here our basic cat sprite that we've been using this entire time, right? This is the guy that we've been making move and making turn so far. But we have a bunch of other sprites. Now what you can do, you can scroll down, find a sprite that you like. Okay, maybe let's go with the, I'm gonna go with the bear sprite. Okay, so I'm gonna click him. And as you can see, my bear sprite's been added to my stage, right? And right now he's covering my cat sprite. So I'm just gonna move him here. And I'm gonna move my cat sprite over here. Okay, so just like that, I now have two sprites. Okay, I have two sprites. I have my bear sprite and I have my orange cat sprite. Okay, is anyone having any trouble getting their second sprite here? Put something in chat if you guys are having any trouble. I lost 1 second.
Well, I put the orange cat and named it Garfield, and then I put a cake and a donut.
Okay, so you have 3 sprites. Okay, good. So you can have multiple sprites here. And 1 second. Where is? Okay, so anyways, we have 2 sprites here. And guys, just a quick warning, my video feed disappeared, so I can't see you guys raise your hand up anymore. If you guys have any questions, just type it into the chat. Okay, just type it into the chat and then I'll be able to help you. Okay, but now we have 2 sprites, right? So we have our bear sprite over here and we have our orange cat sprite over here. Now I see right now I've selected the bear sprite, but I can't see any of the commands here that I had for my orange cat sprite, right? Remember we had a move 10 steps and a turn block here. It's all gone when I select my bear sprite. But if I select my orange cat sprite again, I see that they're both still actually here, right? So they didn't go anywhere. They're still here, okay? What happens is each sprite has its own set of properties. And what does that mean? Let's take a look at the orange cat again. We see the orange cat has this X value here. It has this Y value here. And we've already said that this X and Y value represent where our sprite is on our grid. We also have direction, okay? If you click the directions tab, we'll see this little blue arrow here, and we'll see that we can kind of shift where our cat is looking. You can also make him go all the way upside down on his head, but we don't want that. So we'll make him face forward again. Okay, so I'm gonna put him right at 90. Okay, so there's another property associated with my sprite. I have a size property here. Right now it's set at 100, but I can put it, I feel like my cat's a little bit too big for a normal cat. So I'm gonna make it size 80. So if I click 80 and click enter, my cat gets a little bit smaller. Okay, so these are all properties associated with my cat sprite, but also in my coding area, or sorry, my scripts area here, these blocks are more properties associated with my cat sprite because they only affect my cat sprite. Okay, they only affect my cat sprite, and any block I put here, they'll only affect my cat sprite. Okay, they won't affect the bear sprite. The bear, he has his own scripting area here, right? And he also has his own properties over here. Okay, so he has his own X position. He has his own Y position. He also has his own direction that he's facing and his own size. Maybe I think that's too small for a bear. So I'm gonna make my bear a little bit bigger. I'll make him kind of 100 size. I'll make him 115. And there, he got a lot bigger. Okay, and he also, of course, has his name. Okay, Now I want to do something. I want to add some instructions for my bear as well. Okay, so I want you guys to add some instructions for your second sprite as well. We're going to take this move block over here, put this to our scripting area, and let's also get him to turn as well. Okay, and we'll put that right after the move block. Okay, now we have the exact same instructions in our cat. So if we click this, just like our cat would, our bear moves when we click these instructions, right? And then we can go back to our cat. We can do the same thing. We can click these blocks, and now our cat's moved, just like our bear did, right? So click both of them twice. They're both kind of looking at the same way, okay? Now, that's not ideal. Sometimes when I write a program, I don't want to go to the bear and then tell the bear what to do. And then I don't want to go back to the cat and then tell the cat what to do, right? That's annoying. It would be great if I could just click this green flag over here, and then my whole program would just work, okay? And so I'm going to introduce you guys to a very special block. If we go to the block tab here, and then I want you guys to look for events, and events is the yellow block. So if we click events, okay, the first event block here, you'll see it says when green flag clicked. So I want you guys to drag that over to the scripting area, and I want you to put it on top of any blocks you already have, right? So I want that to be the first block, okay? So do that for your first sprite, and then also go to your second sprite and do the same thing, right? Drag the same block, the same event block, when green flag clicked, move it and put it right on top of your current blocks right here. Okay, everyone able to do that? Anyone having any trouble? If you guys are having any trouble, please let me know in the chat. Okay, so it looks like everyone's good. There we go. I got my video panel back. Okay, so now that we have our new event here, when green flag clicked, right? Anyone have any guesses to what this means, or what this is going to help us do? No one has any guesses? Let's see, maybe I'm missing someone. No, okay, no one has any guesses. So what this does, right? You see this green flag here? Oh, there we go, I see Ethan. Yes, Ethan?
When you click the green flag in the corner, what you wrote for your sprite, it happens.
Very good, right? So when we click this green flag here, now that I have this event, when green flag clicked, now if we click this green flag button, we see that all of our sprites move, right? The bear and the cat, they both move, because if we visit again the orange cat scripting area, we see we also put the green flag clicked event over here, and we put it with the bear as well. So what's happening is, as soon as we click this, what we've told the computer, the instructions we've given it in block programming, is when we click this green flag, we want our sprite to move 10 steps, then turn 15 degrees, okay? Same for the orange cat. So since they both have it, when we click this, both of our animals move 10 steps while turning 15 degrees, okay? Is everyone able to do this? Is anyone having any trouble? Everyone give me a thumbs up if everything's good. You can just give me the thumbs up emoji if your camera's off. See a thumbs up from Lychee. Everyone having troubles? Remember, if your camera's off, you can just give me the thumbs up emoji. Okay, see a thumbs up from Samuel. I see. Oh, there we go. A thumbs up from Ethan. How about you, Jason? Are you having any trouble? Jason, can you hear me? Okay, Jasmine gave me a thumbs up. Good. Marcus also, and Jason has given me a thumbs up. Very good. Okay, so everyone's given me a thumbs up. That's good. Okay, so we've seen now how we can have multiple sprites. We've also seen that each sprite has its own scripting area and its own set of properties, right? And depending on what we put in each scripting area, they could do something different. Okay, so maybe let's not have the same set of instructions. Let's go back to the bear. Let's get rid of these two. Okay, so I'm going to delete this first one and I'm going to delete the second one. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go to looks, this purple tab over here, and I'm going to get a new event. Okay, I'm going to look at this say hello for 2 seconds event. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to put that here. Okay. So now let's see what happens when we click the green flag. So as we can see, when we clicked it, our cat moved, our cat sprite moved, but our bear didn't, right? Our bear just stayed in the same place. All he's doing is saying hello, right? All he's doing is saying hello. So as you can see, our program is very short, right? So as soon as we click go, this icon right here, the stop icon, it lights up, right? It lights up saying that we can stop the program anytime we want, but it only lights up for around 2 seconds. And then it goes back to a dull color, meaning we can't click the program anymore. The reason is because our program only runs for 2 seconds, right? And that's because we have this block here that says say hello for 2 seconds, right? So as soon as he's done saying hello, he has no other commands. Now, if you go to the orange cat scripting area, the only commands the orange cat has are move 10 steps and turn 15 degrees. As we can see, as soon as we click go, the orange cat finishes its instructions in a matter of seconds, not even 1 second, right? Like half a second. But the brown bear, he has to say hello for the whole 2 seconds, right? So if I click go and then stop immediately, that stops my program immediately. The brown bear does not say hello for the entire 2 seconds. Okay, this has been a quick introduction just to some of the blocks here, right? We're going to visit each block again in more detail. We're going to see how to customize and get the blocks to do different things. I want to show you guys a quick example of a, because Scratch right now, it looks like we can't do too much, right? We have a cat and a bear on the screen. They're moving a little bit. They're saying hello, but it's nothing too cool. Now this right here, this is a project that someone did, right? As we can see on the scripting area. And this is called Paper Minecraft, okay? And you guys probably have heard of Minecraft, or maybe you guys have played Minecraft before. Someone actually remade a version of Minecraft using just the Scratch programming language. Okay, now I'm gonna refresh this. I'm gonna refresh this. Now the cool thing about Scratch is if you make an account, you can make big projects and you can save them to your account and you can share them with other people. Right? You can share them with other people. And then anyone can see how you kind of made that project, what blocks you used, right? So we see here, he has Paper Minecraft and we're going to click the go button here. And as soon as we do, we have all these buttons, right? So there's obviously a lot of work in this, right? If we look at this game's sprite panel, we see a lot of sprites. So it's not just the 2 sprites we had. He has a lot of sprites, right? So if we click new game, it gives us some options here. I'm going to skip that. I'm going to click done. And then it takes some time to load. Just give it a second to load. And it says, here we go. And just like that, I have a version of Minecraft using Scratch, right? And so he's done a bunch of events here, right? We see when our mouse moves, our little guy, our little sprite, his head follows along. I can move with the arrow keys. I can jump around, right? It even makes some sound when he's doing it. Right now, I'm in the water and everything, right? So this was made completely using Scratch, right? And we can take a quick look into some of the code that goes here. So remember, each sprite has its own code. So right here, this sprite is called Steve's arm. So if we click this, we'll see he has all this. Oops, let me just stop the program. Right, sorry about that. He's in the water. But when we click Steve's arm, we see all the blocks he's put, right? So he's put a lot of blocks. We just had 2 blocks in our simple program. But this guy, he's made a lot of blocks here. So just for Steve's arm, he has all these blocks, right? Think about it, just one arm of a single guy. But Steve's arm is important, right? He uses it to hit things, he uses it to point. So it's going to be quite complicated. And remember, this is just one single sprite. There's a lot of sprite. We also have the Steve sprite in general, right? And if we click that, we see a lot more, right? A lot more blocks. So it can get very, very complex and very, very complicated. Okay. Now we're not going to be making paper Minecraft, but we will be making some cool games as we go throughout the course. Okay. Now we've almost reached the end of the lesson. I'm going to shift your attention right here to my iPad again. I'm going to share with you guys the assignment that I want you guys to do. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys an assignment. I'll post it in the Google Classrooms. Let me just share my screen. We have assignment 1. Okay, so I'm going to post this in the Google Classroom so you guys can see all the questions. Now, it's best if you guys finish this before next class, right? Because remember, here in the course syllabus, I've said that I would give assignments after almost every class, and I'm going to be picking 3 that I will randomly grade. Okay. Now, this is the first assignment. We have a part 1 over here, which is just concepts. So these will just ask you some simple questions. Okay, so you can write them on a Microsoft Word document, or you can write them on a piece of paper, right? Just when you're done, either take a picture or something, and then you can submit it in the Google Classrooms. And then here, I have a part 2 where it says application. And here, I want you guys to use the Scratch coding environment, and I want you to make your own program. And it tells you here instructions on what to do. It's a fairly simple program. Nothing here is too complicated. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to post it in the Google Classrooms as well. Okay, so there's a part 1 and part 2. Now also for part 2, when you're done coding on the Scratch coding environment, you can save it and then you can share the link. Okay, so you guys can save it and you can share the link. So if I go back here, I'm going to share my screen one more time. Share my computer screen one more time just to show you guys how to share it. Okay, so if we go here, you click your username. So remember, you do need a Scratch account to save your projects. Otherwise, it won't work. If you go to my stuff, I have a few different projects here, right? So if I click lesson 1, which was the project that I was working on, it says here, this project is not shared, so only I can see it. I can click this share icon here. So if you guys click that, it says now other people can try it out, give comments, and remix it. So we'll learn more about what remixing is in a later class. Okay, but now here is the copy link button. If you guys click that, we'll have a link. So you guys can just click copy link again. And then now if I paste this in chat, you guys will be able to see this project, right? So that's what I want you guys to do. When you're done your assignments, specifically the part 2, where I tell you to code, just copy the link, the sharing link over here, and then either paste it in your Microsoft Word document, or if you took a picture, then you can just paste it directly into your submission. Okay. Anyone have any questions? I will post the instructions about how to share your Scratch project again. So if you didn't get it this time, don't worry, because I know some of you guys might not have accounts yet. Okay. But does everyone understand the instructions so far? Is there any questions about the assignment?